If I have to choose elderly restaurants, I'm going to choose Swiss Chalet.
Chalet,
Yeah.
what?
Every time I go to Swiss Chalet with my wife, it's always like...
We have a good time.
There's always like everybody, the average age there is like 74. I feel like I'm on a cruise.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to Basements, Faults, and Catapults. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
And I'm Trevor.
And here we're going to be looking at games, genres, and the things we enjoy in gaming.
And to do that, we're going to randomly select a genre each episode.
We're going to give a brief rundown of that genre.
And then we're going to select 2 games. One of these games will be the absolute best in show, while the other, for whatever reason, is not so good. The catch, and what we hope will be the fun part, is neither of us will have played, or at least played heavily, the titles the other has selected.
Yeah, so we're going to be taking these titles, the best and the worst, we'll divide it up, and we're going to give it about an hour of playtime. We're going to meet back up, chat about our experiences.
That's when we'll give our own opinions of the other's game. Celebrate where we agree and refrain from murdering each other where we disagree. After all, not everyone can have a perfect opinion.
And that's it. We hope that you'll join us, listen in, maybe be inspired to try a few of the titles along the way, or, let us know exactly why our opinions are trash.
And remember, Ricky Martin is still living La Vida Loca.
Oh, outside, inside out.
Inside, out, inside, I don't even
Yeah, I don't know the word.
He's
living it.
He's living La Vida Loca, I love it. I want to be living La Vida Loca.
God, what a life. What a dream. All right, FA, we are here and ready to do it.
Yes.
So for those of us not familiar with the genre or our format, we have a really awesome Excel table that Trevor has spent at this stage minutes.
I really just call it the random genre selector.
The random genre selector, the RGS.
RGS.
Yeah, so it's an Excel table with a bunch of the genres in it, and I think at this point we're up to 30-something?
We are at 41.
Well, that's right. We added a bunch last episode.
Hey, how did you scam me out of putting dating simulator on here?
I distracted you with a different topic, and then I'm sorry, I weaponized your ADHD against you.
Well, maybe we'll add it later.
Maybe we'll add it later. So there's a bunch of genres on there, not including dating simulator. Mm-hmm. Though an argument could be made for either dating simulator or visual novel.
I'm still reeling over this pigeon dating one you were talking about.
Oh, Hateful Boyfriend.
Hateful Boyfriend. I kind of am like, we need to do some dating simulators.
There's
right?
one that I actually bought because it was free. So what does that count? But it's called Only Cans.
Only Cans?
Only Cans.
Oh my gosh.
And it is you are a photographer taking photos of soda cans from this company.
Okay.
And you shake them up, you pop the top, you let it foam, you spray water. It's hilarious. So stupid. What a meta commentary and a little bit of body horror behind there. But that's besides the point. What is the point is this random genre selector will, upon a press of a button, randomly select 3 genres. It'll be organized in 3 different columns. Column 1 is what we will do. However, if we have done column 1 previously, like we're talking recent history, maybe 3-4 episodes.
Yeah.
We will then move on to column 2. And of course, column 3 is there just in case. We do have some special modifiers. If we get a long game format, then the second column will be the game we play. If we get Everything is Awesome, which is good games, or it's sibling, Everything is Horrible, which is all bad games, then the next episode will be the other one.
Yeah. So basically, it's just going to random roulette us some genres and modifiers, and it will decide for us
I got
a
a little down the rabbit hole on that, my friends.
Good. But we will not shy away from what we are told to do. So we actually, oddly enough, do no prep work for this whatsoever.
Nope.
It's not scripted.
Well, the opening, our hello is.
Well, okay, so yeah, we've got a scripted opening and a scripted outro.
Yeah,
but actually, every time we record, we don't know what genre we're going to do.
Nope,
we don't know what game we're going to play. Nothing is pre-planned or preordained.
And
it might be preordained.
Yeah, well, now we're getting into some heavy philosophy. That is anything we do have meaning if everything has been pre-decided? Right, so I'm going to roll a d20. It's going to pop up a number. That number is how many times Trevor's going to click the randomize button, and then we're going to get this party started.
Let's do it.
We have a 19.
19. Oh, I got to click so many times.
So many times.
Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,
15, 16, 17, 18,
19.
Oh my God.
JRPG.
JRPG.
Oh, baby.
You know, this is it's actually the top genre in our list. It's the number one on our list.
I grew up on JRPGs.
Me too.
My very first game that I remember playing and like going out of my way to beat was Phantasy Star 4 for the Sega Genesis.
See, I unfortunately did not have a Sega Genesis, so I got into...
Well, you had the Super Nintendo.
I did. I got into the JRPGs in the Super Nintendo.
So, Final Fantasies.
My first Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy VI. Which is a masterpiece with Kefka and it's so good and the music is so good, right? I can play like half of the little quirky little song MIDI music on the piano. Like I love that.
I still have the what was his name? Not Sid. The martial arts character. Sid's brother. Yeah. The guy with like the blonde dude. Yeah, he was in a tank top.
Yeah, tank top.
It was very much like a.
See, my problem is whenever I played the game, I named them after my friends.
Oh.
So that was my buddy Frank.
You fool.
I always named him Frank because Frank was always in a tank top.
Yeah,
right?
Frank was a tank top Frank.
Yeah, tank top Frank. So I don't remember what any of their real names were.
Oh no.
Sabin, maybe.
Sabin.
That's
it. Bang on. You did it. I did it. You did it. But of course, there's also Chrono Trigger, which is a huge influence.
Akira Toriyama, Chrono Trigger, yes.
And to a major extent in Japan, it never quite got the same traction here in North America, which is a shame. But it was the Dragon Quest series.
Dragon Quest, yes.
Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. I spent a lot of time on that one.
See, I have not played any Dragon Quest games. I bought one of the Dragon Quest games for Steam recently. The controls weren't ported well to PC.
Oh, is this the latest one, Dawn of
Dragon Quest Echoes of an Elusive Age? Yeah, it's ported weird, so the controls are weird. But I will be playing it.
Good.
I played for about 33 minutes.
I do love Final Fantasy series. I have such a strong nostalgia for the Phantasy Star series, but I have bought and played every Tales game since I got a really bad fan port ROM. I later bought it when it was available on the GBA. Tales of, what was it? Tales of, not Abyss, that was on PS2. Tales series. It was only available on the Super Famicom. And then there was an English port.
Well, controversially, one of my favorite...
Tales of Fantasia, thank you. There you go.
Tales of Fantasia. One of my favorites would be... From when I was a child, I rented Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. It's one of the most hated of the entries in the Final Fantasy series.
Mystic Quest? That was a weird one.
Because it was Final Fantasy made for an American audience. It was kind of modified. Some of the game mechanics were different. But I thoroughly enjoyed the storyline, the plot, the gameplays. There was like grappling hooks that you needed to use to solve puzzles. And I really, really appreciated that. The other one was, oh man, I need to look up JRPGs because I don't remember like half of the names here. One with the tanks. It's like a wartime one.
Valkyrie
Chronicles. Valkyrie Chronicles.
Love Valkyrie Chronicles.
Yeah, love that one. Played that on the Nintendo Wii. Of all systems.
I played it on the PS2, but yeah. It would make sense if it was on the Wii as well.
I have a friend who played a lot of Secret of Mana, and he had the Sega Genesis, so he got a lot of the really good games, and the Sega CD. I kind of was stuck on the Super Nintendo till I got into PC, and then JRPGs never got ported to PC. So I did a lot of, playing on emulators because that's all I could get my hands on for these JRPGs.
My weird one that I played on the PS2 a lot was a game called Metal Saga, and that was published by Atlas. And Atlas at the time was known for doing just the weird stuff. Like they had published the
brain fart.
Yeah, and
this is where we're like radio edit.
This won't make it into post.
Probably not, unless I just don't edit it well.
Why can't I remember the name? Oh my god. Phantom Thief. This is really bothering me because
Clanad.
I've played it so much.
What is Clanad? Visual novel. Interesting. Well, I don't want a visual novel. We want JRPG.
Why am I... Persona.
Persona.
Oh my god, why was that so hard?
Persona 5 Royal is on my wish list right now.
Persona 5 Royale is in my Steam library.
I have never played Persona 5. However, unfortunately, I played Hollow Knight last episode.
Which was good.
Which was good. It was very good. It was very enjoyable. I have not had time to play it since.
I don't remember what I played. I've scrubbed it from my memory.
You played Void Memory.
Right. Hey, isn't that fitting?
It's not holding any place in your memory. It's just void.
It wasn't, I don't even remember, like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
I think we actually talked a little bit about it. I do remember the game developer's name, though. So, Gustav, I hope you're still making games out there. This is going to be a hard one because I feel like, for the most part, in terms of good stuff, we've both played a lot of what's considered the great good, you know?
Yeah, like, I mean, I've got Chrono Trigger.
I've played Chrono Trigger.
You've played Chrono Trigger. Now, have you played Rune Factory 5?
No, but I played the Rune Factory 3 on the DS.
Okay. So I did buy Rune Factory 5. Playtime is 1 minute. I haven't actually played it yet. I bought it because it was on sale.
Now, to be fair to Rune Factory 5, though, I would consider that more of a farming sim.
Yeah, you know, you're probably right. Yeah, more of a farming sim, more of like a
Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon. Yeah. There's CrossCode. Have you played CrossCode?
No, not yet. And there's one I've been looking at, Scarlet Nexus, that I haven't played either.
So CrossCode is not technically a JRPG, but it is JRPG style, and it is JRPG in a kind of
heavily influenced by.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. There's also Ni no Kuni, Revenant Kingdom.
Nope, don't know that one.
I bought it. I haven't
did
played
play
it yet.
the first one, Ni no Kuni and the White Witch. Or
Okay. There's also a VR one called Zenith, I think, which is interesting, although very motion sickness inducing. Oh no, that's Runes Magus. That's the VR one. Zenith is also VR. I've tried a couple of JRPGs in the VR space just to try to see where they're at, and they're pretty, kind of jank. I also have Final Fantasy 15.
Played that. The Road Trip Simulator.
Yeah. It is a road trip simulator.
And you know what? I might catch some flack for this, but I loved that.
And I have Sword Art Online, Hollow Realization, which...
Never played the Sword Art Online series.
This one's mixed, so you don't get to play it. It's mixed reviews. It's not great. It's not great.
Well, you know, if you've played it and you really loved it, right, then it counts, right?
Yeah.
Like, yes, we gotta sometimes look at the meta rate, but, you know, the personal rating comes into play a lot, I think.
I've got Racketeer, which is like, it's an item shop. It's kind of a capitalism RPG dungeon crawler, which is interesting. But technically it's an RPG, but it's JRPG inspired. Very positive reviews though, so I might make you play that one.
Okay. But really, this is an amazing opportunity for you to be like, hey, I love this JRPG. Have you played it?
I mean, I love CrossCode, and I really kind of feel like it's not technically a JRPG, so let me just see. Do we have a separate RPG?
We do, but JRPG, well, there's like, you know, EU trade laws made in Japan stamp JRPG, but JRPG is a genre. So
it is
like
a genre.
If I live in Albuquerque and I'm like, I really want to make a game that is just a send up to the beauty and nostalgia of the 90s Super Nintendo RPG, which were all almost predominantly JRPGs, then that's a JRPG.
That's a JRPG, yeah. I mean,
you know, I might have to call it a sparkling RPG, but
yeah. I feel like Ni no Kuni, I feel like it's kind of in the name, right? If it has more of a Japanese name.
Yeah.
But so I think I could get you to play. CrossCode is definitely on my top list of games I think you should try.
Okay. Hold on, let me pull up CrossCode. If it's where, oh, you know what? It's $20. Yeah, I have no problem picking that up on my own.
That's JRPG. I mean, I'm curious to see what the best JRPG is of all time. Because Chrono Trigger, I think, is number 1 on that list.
You know, I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't a good one. It's not my top one. Oddly enough, is that Xenogears down there?
That's Xenogears, yeah.
Hey. I own Xenogears on the original PlayStation disc.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that.
And Xenogears is one of my absolute favorites. And I even love the sort of not quite sequel, prequel Xenosaga on the PS2. I actually really loved the Xenosaga series. Cosmos, man, let's go.
Yeah, you know what? Even Reddit, everybody's like, yeah, like I love Trails to Azure, but Chrono Trigger is like the best of all time. It's perfect, and nothing can beat it. I'm like, okay.
I mean, it is good. I'm not going to sit here and say it isn't. It is excellent, but it's not my top one. You know.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think Secret of Mana is definitely a top.
Love me Secret Mana. All right, but I think we digress a little bit. We do need to talk about what kind of is a JRPG, you know?
Yeah, so, I mean, Forbes described... No.
Yeah. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary describes a JRPG. But for me, a JRPG has always encapsulated 3 major things. Menus, stats, and sort of a anime art style.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I think, even Zelda, like Legend of Zelda, was technically a JRPG, right?
Are we talking the first or the second
like
one?
Like Nintendo.
Yeah, but the first or the second one?
First one, I think.
Okay, yeah, because the first one, a very simplistic one.
But it was like, because Dragon Quest had come out for Nintendo, right? And then we had, which came out first, Legend of Zelda or Dragon Quest?
Whoa, that's a toughie. And I wouldn't have a good answer. But you know who would? Google.
Yeah, so I'm looking at what is the first JRPG. That's like the real thing. Japan's earliest RPGs were released in 1982. The earliest was Koei's Underground Exploration.
Yeah, but that would have just been like a mud kind of...
I don't think that counts.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Like, when did it suddenly become the genre?
So really, like the first major commercial successes were Dragon Quest.
Yep. And I don't know if this is true or if it's no longer true, but it used to be that Dragon Quest could not be released on a workday.
Really?
Yeah, because so many people would take the day off to play the game in Japan. Now, again, that's a colloquial thing I heard. How true it is, I couldn't tell you.
Well, I know that Dragon Quest, even though I haven't really been heavily into Dragon Quest, when I was in Japan in November, there was a Dragon Quest themed cafe. And Dragon Quest is so huge there, and there's Dragon Quest merch everywhere. Whereas like here in Canada, we don't see anything Dragon Quest anywhere, just like it doesn't exist. And I feel like one of my really big kind of motivators right now with Akira Toriyama's passing is to play all the Dragon Quest games, replay Chrono Trigger. So I'm gonna definitely be diving into the JRPG genre pretty heavily, I think, this year. But it's hard because there's like, what defines an RPG? And I'm kind of Googling this. And it's like, well, it's a Japanese role-playing game. So first of all, if it's not Japanese, it's technically not a JRPG.
Yeah, and now we have to call it sparkling wine.
Sparkling wine,
cool.
Yeah. It's not really wine, it's sparkling wine.
Yeah, it's not champagne, it's sparkling wine. But
yeah.
That's for the purists and the people who are just no fun at dinner parties.
Yeah. And I think, so thegamer.com says there's 6 differences between RPGs and JRPGs. Probably an opinion piece more than anything. Yeah. So gameplay. So JRPGs were typically turn-based.
Though,
was Dragon Quest turn-based?
I was about to say Dragon Quest is turn-based, but that also has room for interpretation because the Tales series is not turn-based.
That's fair.
And more recently, more of them are experimenting with active battle. Look me in the eye and tell me Final Fantasy VII isn't a JRPG.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII is definitely a JRPG.
And yet the remake is not turn-based. The remake is you're fighting, right?
Oh, okay. Interesting choice. Yeah, I think that's just the way games are going. They want more shiny.
Yeah, but more interactivity.
But for me, a JRPG, I think of, again, I go back to Final Fantasy, and I've played Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But I started with 6. That was kind of my first foray into JRPGs, even before Chrono Trigger. I actually didn't really play Chrono Trigger until like 10 years ago on when I was like, I need to try this game.
Yeah.
But for me, I think of the menu system, I think of the item system, the inventory system, getting different characters that are different classes that have different skill sets. Yeah. If it's not like Final Fantasy VII still had like a magic and a materia system. When you get into Final Fantasy, what was it, 8 or 9, when it became like it was all about tech and guns. To me, that isn't. I think of JRPG as fantasy. So you start bringing in guns and tanks and road trips and cars, and I think like I get it. You're trying to modernize the JRPG, but I think there's a romanticism in the fantasy of JRPG that it needs to be in a fantastical world with fantastical beasts and summons and espers and like again, Final Fantasy VI defined the genre for me. But so if the game doesn't have that kind of inventory menu system, loot system, battle system, random encounter system, like those are to me all of the elements that a JRPG must have. Oh. Yeah.
One of the things that for me anyway has always distinguished an RPG from a JRPG has been the grind. Because a Western RPG wants you to move fairly rapidly through the storyline. Right, and that's true to an extent, right? And there will be things in the game. It's like, okay, you've reached level 20. Here's all these cool things. Go. Whereas with the JRPG, it has always been, to me anyway, this grind. You got to grind to level 10 before you can get to the next area. You got to grind to 20 before you can get to the next area. Where you're just going to be in for a bad time.
Yeah, the boss fight is not going to be fun for you.
Yeah, and that's true to an extent, and I'm sure other people would be like, no, but to me that has always been kind of one of the big defining traits.
So CrossCode.
CrossCode.
I'm going to get you to play CrossCode. Now I think CrossCode does tend to not necessarily, it's not really a JRPG, right?
Again, it's sparkling wine.
It is. I did check our genre list. We don't actually have RPG, we just have JRPG, so I think it's JRPG/RPG, I think, is kind of at this point.
Well, I'm looking at the screenshots, and it's if this were an EU protected copyright, yeah, but it would have to be called sparkling RPG. Yeah. But it is like I'm looking at one of the boss fights here, and yeah, that's a JRPG boss fight. Yeah. Absolutely.
So CrossCode is your game. Okay. It was between that or Racketeer, but I feel like CrossCode was very unique.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where it's like, oh, I wish I could give you the good game because you haven't played the Tales series, have you?
I have not, and you're welcome to recommend it, and I'm happy to try it.
Tales of Arise, huge to me. I can't up that one enough. There's also here we go. Oh, that's not what I wanted.
So fun fact, really quick with CrossCode. CrossCode is made entirely in HTML5.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Now I haven't personally confirmed that, but that's what I've been told about it since its release. Was like they made this entire game in HTML5. Pretty interesting.
That is actually kind of interesting, yeah.
But CrossCode is a retro-inspired 2D action RPG set in the distant future. CrossCode combines the 16-bit SNES style with butter-smooth physics, fast-paced combat system, and engaging puzzle mechanics, served with a gripping sci-fi story. And I feel like the reviews on this are so good, I had to buy it. I had to play it. I find it very nicely combines a lot of the elements from earlier RPGs that it kind of draws inspiration from. Yeah, it was made by developer Radical Fish Games, and there's multiple publishers. But yeah, it's a really a nice throwback to the original JRPGs.
I'm sold. Stop selling it. I've already bought it.
Nice.
Let's see.
So now you got to pick one for me.
I know, and that's like, because I would give you the Tales series. Like, this is one of those, like, have you played Sea of Stars? Like,
yep.
Oh my God, there's so many good ones, right? But no.
Sea of Stars, actually, I have not bought yet.
Really?
It's on my wish list.
It's on my wish list.
I have a friend who's playing it and just adores it.
Yeah, it's not long. I think I beat it in 7 hours, 8 hours. And like a lot of the time it was like, yeah, I saw that coming.
Really, 8 hours though, it's a $45 game. 8 hours is not enough content for me to be happy paying $45 for a game now. Yeah. So it must be really good if it's gonna hit the mark.
I mean, I got 8 hours to beat it, and then I went back and I really went through it.
Nice.
I think there's 40 plus hours of gameplay in there if you're really caring. But what really got me about it was just how in love with the genre it is. Because it loved the JRPG. Like everything about it was like, yeah, this is JRPG, and we're playing a JRPG, guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, none of the big plot points is like, oh yeah, didn't see that coming. But at the same time, there was just so much joy in it, right? That I just
wonder what the worst JRPG of
all time. Yeah, I'm looking here, and like a lot of these are coming up, and they're the kind of games that you wouldn't want your mom coming down to catch you playing. Let's get fit at midnight, shall we? It is a RPG clicker simulator with a dating sim and indie tags. God. Whoosh. Right next to Shin Megami Tensei 5, like Steam, you gotta tighten up some of these recs.
Right.
No way, they're remastering Sakaiden? Yeah.
What genre is that in?
Sakaiden?
JRPG?
Sakaiden's like a tactics JRPG, I would say.
Okay.
It's really good. Like it was the Sakaiden series is one of my favorite series ever. I started playing on 3, which some people will tell you was was it 4? The one on the boat. They'll tell you that is like one of the worst JRPGs or one of the worst Sakaiden games ever made. But
choosing games is hard. It really is.
It really is. And okay, here we go.
Do you have any JRPGs that you've bought that you haven't enjoyed?
No, because I only buy good.
I know. I'm looking. I'm looking for JRPGs like on. Oh, well, that one doesn't look very good. No, does it? But yeah, it's hard because there's a lot of games that say they're a JRPG, but they're kind of not.
Why is this? Okay, hold on. Archangel, RPG Maker, JRPG, action RPG, mostly negative. Doesn't say nudity.
Promising.
Hey.
What's it called?
It's called Archangel, Archangel, which is the correct way to spell it, so thank God they got that.
Archangel. Oh yeah, mostly negative JRPG. Look, you found one that isn't trash. You found a trash game that isn't trash.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was at the very bottom of the list.
All right, excellent. This game is a bottom. $1.19, let's go. Is this what you want me to play?
Yeah.
All right, I'm in. So
it's the only one I got.
All right, so you got to do it.
I am playing
CrossCode.
CrossCode.
So you got to give Archangel a little introduction. I'm going to go to my cart and not buy 2 of these because I added 2 to my cart.
Oh, why would you do that?
You know what? I might gift this to you as well.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
You're such a good guy. What was I gonna do? Archangel. Okay. Archangel.
I sent you a copy of Nekopara, so have fun.
Nekopara, you monster. Why would you? Okay. About this game. Description. We want to let you enter to the Archangel world, where angels and demons live inside an endless war, where humans and elves are their objective. Anir is one of the last angels who remains in this world, and his mission is the freedom, the peace for the humanity. As you can see, there are new features we changed in the game, made with RPG Maker. We did not want to do another RPG Maker game. That's because we changed a lot of things, like the enemies, like the battle system, and a lot of puzzles inside a story we did with all our love. You can forge your weapons, raise your level, like your enemies, have relations with your partners, raising their companion level. There are 7 different classes available in the game, with their own abilities and their own properties. You can change your class and test all of them. 6 different cities you can visit in an open world. Unlock abilities. Unlock all enemies in your enemy book. Obtain abilities from your relations with your partners. And create your own weapons. Live the adventure of Archangel with a handmade soundtrack. We are accepting new ideas and we are working on it. Thanks a lot for the support and hope you like it.
Well, I was looking at the reviews and there's a lot of like people just saying that it's huge spelling mistakes, really definitely not English is not their first language, which whatever, that's fine. But you know what? I'm excited. Let's dive right in.
All right, and I am, of course, going to do CrossCode. You didn't introduce CrossCode.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a retro-inspired 2D action RPG set in the distant future. CrossCode combines 16-bit SNES style graphics with butter-smooth physics, fast-paced combat system, and engaging puzzle mechanics, served with a gripping sci-fi story. So CrossCode is essentially, people are saying it's all about how it plays. That's why there's a free Steam demo. Give it a try. Take the best out of 2 popular games, find a good balance between them, and make a great game. That's what CrossCode does. You get the puzzles of Zelda-esque dungeons and are rewarded with a great variety of equipment you know and love from RPGs.
All right.
During the fast-paced battles, you will use the tools you find on your journey to reveal and exploit the enemy's weakness, and at the same time, we'll be able to choose equipment and skills for a more in-depth approach in fighting your enemies. Great game. It won the German Developer Awards Best Indie Game.
Oh, so it's a Riesling, not a champagne.
Exactly. It won the Fantasy Award 2018 Most Promising Product Roleplay Convention. It also won the German Developer Awards Best German Game. Because it is the Germans, so it's a game.
The Germans makes a game.
The German Developer Awards Best Game Design, German Developer Awards
All right,
Best
no,
PC
I'm
and Console
sold.
Game.
Stop selling it.
If you haven't played CrossCode, what I'm telling you is go out and play it. It is a great game, and we'll see if Aaron likes it. If he doesn't, I will be sharpening my knives. All right. Good luck. Have fun.
You too, man. Don't die, because I don't think there's a save system in this one.
Pretty sure I don't have a save system. Here we go. Here we go. How are we doing on time?
Excellent question. 50 seconds.
Oh, wow.
So
My internal clock is
good internal
working.
clock. And you know what? Now's as good time as because I just beat the dungeon boss. So
Very cool.
I've unlocked Master of Turrets.
Master of Turrets.
Onwards, please. Onwards and forwards, and always twirling, twirling, twirling into the future. Okay, well.
There is no exit button, so I have to Alt F4.
Is there really no exit button?
There is no exit button. It is an Alt F4 situation. There is, however, saving, which we've seen in a lot of these not so great games. That saving hasn't been a generally available option.
All right. Well, I had a ton of fun. You did not look like you did.
You know, I'm feeling like I need a coffee.
Oh, that put you to sleep, did it?
I mean, that's just the general malaise. I'm not sure, but yeah, you know what? I don't have a lot of bad to say. I mean, I don't have anything really good to say, but I don't have anything really bad.
It was
to
your
say.
void memory.
Yeah, I think so. So, where do you want to start?
Well, do you want to start with the good game or the bad game?
You know what? I think I would like to hear about your experience with CrossCode. That would make me very happy.
Oh my goodness.
Or very sad.
Yeah, very. Let me just start with saying, what a trash game. Whoever developed. No, I really kind of fell in love with it. It's a very simplistic sort of design style, and that's not to take away from what it accomplishes. It's very sort of blocky design. This is probably someone's first real big art project, or they did the animations themselves.
Well, it was designed to be a 16-bit SNES style.
Yeah,
that was very much their
it
target.
captures that aesthetic perfectly. But even in that day and age, there was smooth characters, if you will, during the cutscenes and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, I'm not detracting. The game was good. I didn't run into a single part that I wasn't like, oh, this is really cool. From the get-go. I mean, the opening's a little confusing, but I think it's meant to be because you, the character, are confused. You are thrown into this whiplash of a void, and you're kind of trying to figure out what the pistachio is going on.
So what were the story elements like? Like what? How did it kind of introduce you to the story?
Well, it begins, and I'm only going to talk about the first 50 minutes or so of gameplay, so you're not spoiling yourself if you listen to this bit. But it begins with your character, who's this Bamf. You drop in, and this mysterious entity is trying to keep you from saving or reaching your what you find out to be your brother, and you just kick butt all along the way. And then you find your brother. He tells you he's completed the thing. He's sorry that it had to be like this, yada, yada, yada. And then you wake up in the cargo hold of a giant cargo vessel, and like you can't talk. Your character doesn't know who you are. You as the player are like, how did we get here? Why are we here? So that connection of confusion really works well to the game. Smart choices. I don't like being confused, so it took me a little bit to like accept that, but there you go. So overall, I was having a lot of fun with it. I'm glad I picked it up. It's $20, so like whatever. And I'll probably go home and beat it, right? I really enjoyed it.
It is one of my intents to beat this game finally this year. Yeah.
Okay, but we do have a bit of a ranking system, which is going to be just a 1 to 10er, and we're very arbitrary with our choices. You do not have to agree with us at all. But let's start off with graphics and art. It is what it is. It's a 16-bit art style. It wears that on its sleeve. It's very proud of it. And while I don't necessarily love the character design, the execution is very good. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10.
That's very good. And yeah, I think it's hard because it's like, hey, we want to go for this retro look, but then ultimately you kind of go, well, you know, I know what you're going for, but I have higher expectations now that it's 2024.
Yeah, especially within this genre. And I think what really got me is the characters looked like they came out of a how to draw anime book.
Totally.
Which
totally.
I'm not slapping anybody for that, but it looked like that, it felt like that, and you know that there's a degree of refinement that I have to subtract from the team for that. But hey, it was really good. It was consistent, well done. 7 out of 10. Music, very 16-bit, kind of like the sound effects did what they were supposed to do. The enemy noises to indicate when a big attack was happening were there. Like, well done sound design. But was it interesting? And the answer there for me is no.
Fair enough.
Right? It wasn't very interesting. It was very, derivative of a lot of other works. And that's not to say that's bad. It's just it wasn't new.
You know, when I think of my CrossCode playthrough that I did, it's been a little while since I've played, but I don't remember the music. And I think that there's certain games like Final Fantasy where you just know the score.
You know the music.
And that's where, you're going to have like a 10 out of 10 music scores where you remember that you bought the soundtrack, you listen to it, you want to hear it at Video Games Live the next time you get a chance.
The Persona series, the music there always gets me. So CrossCode, it did its job. It set tone, it set atmosphere. It wasn't interesting. So 7. We'll go again for a 7.
Okay.
A good 7.
It fit the timing, it fit the ambience, it fit the environment, it fit the yeah, what was going on. It just wasn't necessarily intriguing on its
Am
own.
I rushing out to buy the soundtrack? No. And I would look askance at anybody who did. But gameplay, 10 out of 10. Bang on, loved it.
Wow.
It did the old, it scratched the puzzle itch, it scratched the JRPG combat itch, it gave me a lot of the original Tales of Fantasia vibes. Loved it. Fun, 10 out of 10.
You know, I agree 100%. For me, CrossCode, the reason I was like, yes, I'm going to get you to play CrossCode today was because for me, the gameplay was 10 out of 10. It was like the puzzles, the bouncing of the balls, it was very much like, wow, they really thought of how the gameplay should be. They put, and I've said to you this before, I don't think that nowadays we put so much effort into the like graphics and all these other things, and I don't think that people remember that the core
optimized for the 4090 SLS.
Yeah, the core focus should be gameplay.
Should always be gameplay.
Right? Gameplay and if you are in the gameplay, the story, right?
Yeah. And bam. So fun follows through, 10 out of 10. There was never a moment where I was like, what do I do? Or what do you do? Yeah, I was confused, but I'm meant to be confused. You and that character are both kind of like, why are we here? And I really love that. So general rating, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. And that 9 out of 10 is mostly just because given how amazing everything else is, the gameplay, how fun it was, and then to have the music and the art not match that level. And I'm not saying it should have, right? Like this is a small indie studio from what I can pick up. So like it's not going to have the budget or even the talent in the art and music department that it obviously had in the developing, the gameplay, the writing, all of that. So,
and the fact that it's all done in HTML5.
Yeah, right?
Like, it just blows my mind that's even possible. As someone who used to be into web development, not super professionally, but, to PHP, ASP, ASP.NET, I can do the coding. It was just very interesting to see that someone could create a full-fledged game in HTML5.
Yeah, because if you had told me this was a modified RPG Maker engine, I'd be like, yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? Because it harkened back to those genres, those eras. And loved it.
Very cool. So, would you give this your stamp of approval?
Unconditionally.
Unconditional, yes. Unconditional. That's like the highest praise that you can give is an unconditional yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, and I didn't really see difficulty settings, but I'm sure that there's options there if like, oh man, I'm not like, because if you really love puzzles, they're there, they're beautiful. But if you're not really good at the click combat thing, there's probably options for that. Okay. And now it's your turn.
Now it's my turn.
Archangel.
Archangel,
Tell me.
Okay, so Archangel is an RPG maker, or RPG game. It is from Fro Games as the developer. Publisher is Juan Gabriel Gomila and Benjamin Miro.
They sound little Espanol.
Definitely Espanol. So, but I actually accidentally ended up in Spanish. So I was playing in English. And I died. And when I got to the menu screen to choose whether I would continue from a save game, it all changed into Spanish. I had to close the game and open it again.
Amazing.
But so let's talk about Archangel. So you
are
the main character,
the titular Archangel.
I can't remember his name now. It was like Argio or something. I'm bad with names in games. But anyway, so you have Einar is his name, Einar. And so Einar you're introduced to him, basically you're dropped immediately into the game.
Okay.
You have...
the classic, you wake up in your mom's house and she says breakfast ready?
Yeah, you wake up in your mom's house, she goes, hey, don't forget your stuff from upstairs, which I already grabbed because I'm a clicky guy. And first thing I did was check the cabinets for stuff, right?
Yeah, you gotta.
So then you walk around and then kind of get to know the town a little bit. It's very small, very RPG Maker, like definitely all RPG Maker assets. You walk to the edge of town, you meet with your dad. Your dad goes, hey, there's an imp in the forest. You got to kill him, but first go get a sword from the blacksmith. So you walk to the blacksmith, get your sword, and then you go after the imp in the forest.
Okay.
In the forest, you kind of start. It's the same fighting system any old style RPG has.
Yeah, especially like an RPG Maker game where it's this menu-based kind of fight.
Exactly. So it is. So it is. You got your menus, your items, your inventory, your weapons, your armor. Like it's exactly what you would expect from an RPG Maker game. So you go into the forest, you kill the imp, you come back to the town. The town's on fire. Your dad is dead. You take your dad's armor.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. So it's like you know, I'm just glossing over this because like.
Those are some pretty tropey story beats.
Yeah, except not really. The problem is that the story. I'm going to harken back to Final Fantasy VI. What made Final Fantasy VI great? Not only was the music score legendary, but every time a character was introduced, you were either given mystery or backstory.
Yeah.
Like when you meet Sabin for the first time, it's like, this is Sabin. He lives in the cabin. He trains with his buddy, or with his mentor and all this other stuff. But it's like, you have like character introduction music, and you know when you hear that, you're being introduced to a character. Like Gao, when you first meet Gao in the middle of the, when you're fighting in the field.
I was trying to pull up Locke's theme, and I was like, no, that'll get us copyright strike.
Locke's theme is great too. Yeah. So, and Sabin's theme, and everyone has their theme, right? Do 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 do.
Yeah, no,
it's so good. Like, but we know this. Like we know this intrinsically because it is embedded in our heads. I've probably got 200 or 300 or 400 hours into Final Fantasy VI. Now, what this game doesn't do is this game does not introduce you to the characters. It's like, oh, you're Einar. Oh, this is your dad. I don't know anything about Einar's dad. I don't know anything about what he's done to help the town.
Is he a jerk? What's happening?
Does he like his dad?
Yeah.
Has his dad been present his whole life, or is he just showing up after many years of absence?
Just get here.
So for me, one of the core important elements of any RPG is the story. I need to care about the characters, like Aerith or Aerith, however you want to, Aerith. Hey guys, it's Aerith.
It's Aerith.
Yeah. So when Aerith was killed, when Aerith was killed,
see now right? I can't. It has to be Aerith now because Aerith.
Aerith, right? It was Aerith when I was a kid. It was always Aerith.
Yeah.
So when Sephiroth killed Aerith,
it was
you're
big.
Literally heartbroken. You're like, you've gotten to know this character. Your character Cloud, who you primarily play through the eyes of Cloud.
Yeah.
You've built this bond, you've built this friendship. She's this nice little flower girl. She's this great, right?
When she drops and the materia bounces.
Oh, yeah.
Her prayer materia. Oh.
Well, and the cutscene, right?
Oh.
And you're just like, my goodness, like why do we have to go through this of Sephiroth killing Aerith? And because we cared about the character, it was impactful, and we all felt bad about it.
We were all mad. Some of us, not naming names here, some of us reloaded old saves and were like, okay, how can I avoid this?
And there were like underground, like
oh god, yeah. Do you remember the whole resurrect Aerith thing?
There was like you could get the resurrection materia and you could save her, and there was all of this all of this lore about how to save Aerith, and you could finally save her and you could bring her back, but that was never part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's the I don't know how true it is, but it was like originally there was supposed to be a quest line to bring her back, but it got cut because of time constraint or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
or whatever. But who knows if that's even true?
Yeah.
Right? This was all just like
word of mouth,
legend and lore and word of mouth that we'd hear because we cared so much about this character.
And we also didn't really have the internet as you know it today, right? It was all message boards and
Nintendo Power Game Magazine and stuff like that, right? So this game does not make you care about the characters. It doesn't introduce you to the characters. After you get back to town, you start meeting other characters, and they just like join your party.
Yeah, just join up.
It's like, hey, it's Samantha. She joined my party. I'm like, who is Samantha?
Who's Samantha? What do
we
I
have
care?
not established who Samantha is. Yeah. Like even you go back to Chrono Trigger, and it like at least does an introduction to the characters. You get to know who they are, what they're doing. Like the frog character that you find, like it does a whole backstory on this guy.
Well, I just named him Gulp.
Gulp, yeah. I mean, you learn about these characters, and you care about them. And I played this for an hour.
Yeah.
I know nothing about the characters other than I was told to go kill an imp. My father was killed, and then I met up with Samantha and this other person, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. They keep giving me keys to get to the next area. So, is it an RPG? Yes, it is. Is it a RPG Maker game? Yes, it is. Do I care about what's going on right now in the game at all? Not really. Like, my heart is like, okay, the game looks and feels like a retro RPG, so I want to like it.
Yeah. It's already checked off a bunch of boxes for me.
It has a menu system that reminds me of that, and I want to like it. But it was like every 2 steps I'm fighting bees, or every 2 step I'm fighting bats. And it's just like, there's too many random encounters. I don't know where I'm going or why I'm going there. Like, I'm like, okay, go killing it, but why? Well, the imp's been terrorizing the town. Okay, but like, show me that. Show me the imp in the town terrorizing the people.
Yeah, or at least when I talk to them, they'll be like, oh, that imp wrecked my market stall or whatever.
Like, if I was to rewrite the beginning of this game, because I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's an RPG Maker game. It has a lot of potential. If I was to remake this game, I would say, okay, show me the imp attacking the town and killing my father.
Oh, yeah.
Then I want revenge and I go after the imp and I kill the imp.
There you go.
Then I get back to town and there were a whole bunch of other imps that destroyed the town, and now I have a reason to go imp hunting.
Yeah, you got a hard on for imps. You are the goblin slayer. I mean, imp slayer. Oops.
Yeah, totally. And so, like, give me motivation. So when we talk about acting and you look at a character, you're like, in this situation, what is the character's motivation?
Yeah,
why is the character wanting to do this?
Yeah.
And I think in this game, I don't have any motivation for the characters to be doing what they're doing. Hey, Dad asked me to go to the forest and hunt an imp.
Okay.
Are we racist against imps?
Yeah, like, why do we hate imps?
Do we just hate imps? Or are imps, am I supposed to know that imps are bad creatures? Or,
yeah.
I mean,
intrinsically?
Yeah, from what I know from fantasy lore, is imps are mischievous. You don't necessarily have to go hunting them down and killing them all because they're just mischievous, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, the game kind of fails at giving me any real motivation for what I'm doing, and doesn't really explain well enough what's going on in the story. But I think this game has potential, and I think with a little bit of reworks, this could be a very good RPG Maker game. So, that being said, the English translations were definitely a little off, but totally playable, totally understandable, and I won't pick on that. So, graphics and art.
Yeah.
It's an RPG Maker game.
And it looked like it used just the base assets.
Standard assets.
No custom assets at all.
Yeah, I mean, any RPG Maker game for me is going to be maximum a 3 out of 10. I'll give it a 3 out of 10 because I think, like, I like this art style.
Yeah.
I do like the retro RPG art style. I do enjoy it.
But ultimately, it was kind of soulless.
Yeah, it's just soulless. It's not doing anything interesting. Yeah, the graphics and art are pretty basic. But it is like, if this game was a game I was playing and we were in 1992 right now.
Bam.
Or even 1994.
Okay, 94.
I would be like, yeah.
Yeah, this is what these games look like.
This is what the game looks like, and this is what the game plays like, and this feels like a 1994 RPG. So sure. But I think I just can't get behind the graphics and art. The music itself, very, very RPG-esque. Probably just some default drop-in music that was put in. Uninteresting, but standard kind of fare for this kind of game. 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure it was just a dropped-in asset. I don't think it was handmade or anything like that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think they said somewhere in here that it was handmade music. It's one of the things. They were kind of talking
I definitely remember hearing handmade music.
Handmade soundtrack, and you know what? Maybe it was handmade. It fit the genre.
Okay, so it kind of gave that sort of fantasy feel.
Yeah.
It was very low fantasy, though. It didn't seem like it was... And for me, the difference between low fantasy and high fantasy is, like, how smart are your wizards?
Yeah. For me, when I think about rating systems, I think, like, 5 out of 10 is they met expectations of what I needed out of a game.
Yeah.
The basic objective was met.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 10 for me means some improvement could be done, right?
Yeah.
And I think in this case, music, 3 out of 10. I don't think it was super great. I don't think it was super bad. I think it fit the game, but didn't pique any interest. For gameplay, I would say, like a 3 out of 10. I mean, look, I don't like RPG Maker games I think 15 years ago when RPG Maker was like making its rounds.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited. I dabbled with it. I even started building like kind of a little RPG in it.
I made like maybe a 20-30 minute game.
Yeah. I just realized that making a game for me, making a game in RPG Maker would just be, I'm just copying. I'm just a copycat. I'm not doing anything new or interesting. I don't really have a new or interesting story to tell. I don't need to make a game in RPG Maker. So, fun. Yeah, again, like 3 out of 10. Nothing spectacular. Not particularly fun. Just felt like another RPG clone of another RPG.
Yeah.
Now, hey, I didn't play for more than an hour.
Yeah.
I might, just out of nostalgic purposes to older RPGs, I might come and play it a little bit longer and see if the story picks up. Maybe they'll tell more of the story later on. Maybe they'll give me a little more to work with. I don't want to say the developer should, do anything other than continue to make the games, to try to fine tune their ability to make games. But RPG Maker's a little dated. It's a little old.
Yeah. It's as an engine, it really hasn't seen any new iterations.
I expect more out of my games, and honestly, for me, it's about new game mechanics. I mean, I've played RPGs since Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
I really feel that if you're going to make an interesting game, you have to have an interesting story or an interesting hook or an interesting game mechanic. This game just doesn't have any of those things. It's just kind of like, they wanted to tell a story, and I'm sure they put a lot of love into it. I'm sure they put a lot of love into this game.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of really cruddy RPG Maker games out there.
And no one really sets out to make a trash game, especially if they're distributing it for free.
For an RPG Maker game, this game is a great game. For a modern game that I want to play and I want to get to know, it's not interesting to me.
Okay.
But it is July 2017 release.
No, so it's already. Just out of curiosity, what else has the publisher put out?
Well, let's find out. So the developer and the publisher.
Well, developer I'm more interested in.
Yeah, Fro Games. So Fro Games has also put out Penguins Arena, which
looks like a lot of their later stuff has gotten really big thumbs up.
Yeah, actually, this one was a 2008 release, which was really good. They have a 2016 release called Discovering Colors, which is an indie family-friendly colorful education with also mostly positive reviews. Then Farabelle, which is a turn-based RPG hex grid game.
Okay.
So kind of like a tactics, it looks like.
Sure.
Which has kind of mixed reviews. And then Mini One Racing, which also kind of has mixed reviews. So, I mean, obviously, this individual loves to make games and loves to put the effort in, which is great. I'd love to see getting away from RPG Maker, which comes with so many limitations, and going towards more of like a Unity or something where you can build a 2D RPG. But I get it. Not everybody has the team size to build an entire RPG from scratch in a Unity engine,
right?
As opposed to grabbing RPG Maker, which has literally infinite assets available for it.
Oh
nowadays,
and
right?
to that statement about like limited design. There's so many different modules you can plug in. There's just off the bat, I know one RPG Maker game I've played. It got rid of the turn-based and said it was that action combat, right?
Right.
So yeah, there's so many things out there.
Yeah. So I think honestly, general rating. I'm going to give the general rating a 3 out of 10. I think
that's fair.
3 out of 10 across the board for me. Stamp of approval is not really, no. I'll play it a little bit, I mean, I'm not going to refund it.
Well, you can't. Oh, it was $2.
It was $2. I'm not going to refund it. I mean,
refund it.
It was $1.19. I'm not going to refund it. I'll go back to it. I'll try it for a little bit. I'll see, if it kind of has some interesting elements to it further on. I'm sure it does. I mean, when a person pours their heart and soul into making a game, they have a purpose behind what they're doing. But I think that this is very much a thing of take some feedback and come back and build an RPG and tell the stories. But work on character development, work on really having a deep story. Make me care about your characters before you kill them.
Here's the $2. Take a writing course.
Absolutely. Take a writing course, take a storyboarding course, and really flesh it out and come back and make like Archangel Rebirth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That was good. And as always, a blast to just be in the room with you.
Man, I just love playing video games, and there's so many opportunities.
So many opportunities
to share.
I love. Is this Excel document on our shared drive or?
No, but it will be.
Okay.
I'll put it up there right now.
Every once in a while, it's like I'd love to just relook and see where we're at.
Yeah, we've done a lot. We've actually come a long way. I mean, we've done 8 total episodes. This is episode 8. We've technically recorded 9 episodes, including kind of our first attempt.
Our demo episode, 0 episodes out there.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this, man. I'm gonna upload my genre selector for you.
You don't have to go that far. You just gotta
steal all my trade secrets.
Done.
I gotta figure out where I'm keeping it though. I actually don't remember.
Yeah. Oh, and I sent you. I gave you a Google link to the Hammerland's operetta we were talking about. So
I will check that out.
Don't stress yourself. If you do, you do.
I've always kind of wanted to go to an opera, and like I've never been to the opera.
Oh, I go to at least 2 a year.
You know what? Actually, oddly enough, and this is relevant to the conversation, what made me interested in opera? I don't know. Why are you exhausted?
I don't know.
I'm feeling a little tired today too.
I don't know what's going on.
My eyes feel heavy today, and I had a good sleep last night and everything.
They pulled a lot of blood out of you today.
They did actually. I'm short a little blood today, so that might be affecting it. I read that it takes, if you donate a pint of blood, it takes you 6 to 8 weeks for your body to replace the volume.
Joish.
Yeah, So if you donate blood, don't get in any traffic accidents or lose more blood because it takes time to replenish, apparently.
Yeah.
No, but it's relevant because there is the opera scene in Final Fantasy VI.
Yes, where
it goes,
Ceres,
because love goes away
like 92 days, just a dating. Love that.
Right?
Love that.
I learned how to play that on piano because I'm like, I love this. This is so great.
It's a beautiful song.
And
Nomio Oboro, I think
so.
The soundtrack.
Could be.
I'm probably butchering
But then they remade that in the remake for Final Fantasy VI,
because they remade it for Steam essentially. But
which I'm gonna actually play but I heard they did some interesting things with the opera scene. I don't know if I'll like it, but I'm definitely gonna play it because Final Fantasy VI is my ride or die.
Nobu Uematsu. Yeah, I got it right there.
Nobu Uematsu. No, Final Fantasy VI is my ride or die, and
my ride or die.
It is
done.
Final Fantasy VI will go down as my most favorite game of all time that I have ever played, because the story was so compelling to me when I was 12.
You know what? In the road trip simulator of life, I'm an FF6 ride or die guy myself.
I like it. Well, with that being said...
Thanks being said, roll the outro!
Roll the outro. That comes to the end of our episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining.
And remember, subscribe if you haven't. And stop by on some of our socials and let you know what you think. All of those are available in the outro as we roll that.
Ciao.
Ciao. And that's our time and the end of our episode.
But don't feel sad it's over. Be glad it happened. From the two of us in the basement, thanks for tuning in.
Join us next time.
And feel free to send us any feedback on our socials or send us a direct email at bfcpcontact@gmail.com.
And if you're really interested in what we're doing, join us on Patreon, where we will have loads of behind-the-scenes stuff and uncut takes as more episodes are released.
We're always excited to hear from you because we love engagement. We look forward to our next Catapult launch and hope you can join us for the ensuing chaos.
Good luck.
See you next time. The world is promoting everyone to turn themselves into a product.
Yeah, you are the product, which was always the end goal of late-stage capitalism, right? Never forget that we live in a society that dictates your value by the monetary value assigned to you.
Yeah, and I mean, look at us. What do we want to do when we grow up? We want to be.
You let me know when you figure it out.
We want to be creators. We want to create. We want to make things. We want to be creative. We want to. And for me, it's like TikTok. Sure, yeah, I could do that. YouTube, I'm doing that. Now we're doing a podcast, but I'm doing this not to make money. I'm doing this because it's genuinely fun for me to create. Huh? However, there is a piece of me that's like, I wouldn't mind being a product, and and that's my full-time job, is being a product and selling my creativity to the world and being able to do that full-time. I think there's a fine line between doing something that brings you joy, that turns you into a product when you're being honest and you're being yourself and you're being integral, versus turning yourself into a fake product that you're not in order to create something that isn't real. And like VTubers are a good example of that. However, I do think that being able to be a VTuber is a nice middle ground for people who don't have confidence to be able to like do something in front of people.
What I've kind of realized about the VTubing and the VTubing community is there's some that use it as a mask so that they can be a very authentic or exaggerated version of themselves.
Yeah, or like Iron Mouse, who literally can't leave her house or she'll die.
Oh yeah, and absolutely, what an amazing opportunity for an individual with such a gift to the world to be able to bring that to everyone while still being not handicapped, because that's not the correct term, but hampered by her condition.
Living with limitations that are not placed on others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right? Like, I think even her own parents have to like go through essentially operating room procedures to even just hug her.
Yeah.
Right? Which is God to live like that. So an amazing soul, and I'm glad VTubing exists to allow that soul to express itself as it does.
Yeah. But you do have to be careful, because you never know when that product that you see online goes from being like, yes, I'm a girl, to being like, hey, it's blood, what are you doing? It is blood.
Hey, Mom, I'm recording. Listen, I got to jiggle the anime booba for the
No, bro. I'm a man, bro. What are you doing, bro? You see me, I lift. Do you even lift, bro? I love that guy. It's just like the funniest, silliest thing where it's like, yeah, I'm pretending to be a girl just for shock value.